I offer my most sincere apology to all people of Hong Kong.
When asked whether she will resign over the extradition bill controversy, Carrie Lam says she hopes she will be given a second chance. Organisers of two recent massive marches do not accept Carrie Lam's apology.
Hello and a very good evening. Chief Executive Carrie Lam today delivered an apology in person to the people of Hong Kong over the extradition bill controversy. This after her previous apology through a written statement only escalated public anger. Still, she rejected calls for full withdrawal of the bill as well as her resignation. Haley Joe reports.
Finally, an apology in person.
I offer my most sincere apology to all people of Hong Kong. But this incident has made me realize, as a chief executive, I still got much to learn and do in better balancing diverse interests, in listening more to all walks of life, in taking our society forward.
Despite repeated apologies, Carrie Lam still has no intention to withdraw the contentious extradition bill.
I will not proceed again with this legislative exercise if these fears and anxieties could not be adequately addressed. The current Legislative Council term will come to an end in July next year. If the bill did not make Legislative Council by July next year, it will expire. It will no longer have a validity. And the government will accept that reality.
But it's unclear if she will table another extradition bill before her term ends in 2022. What about removing the riot label from violent behaviors during last Wednesday's demonstrations?
My position is totally aligned with the Commissioner for Police. If some participants, some protesters, have resorted to violence and there is sufficient evidence to prove that they have used violence, then of course the police needs to take action. The action includes investigation, collecting evidence, and then consulting the Department of Justice on the prosecution.
There will also be no independent investigation into the police use of force last Wednesday.
And we have an independent Police Complaints Council, the IPCC. So we should make the full use of these institutions to address any complaints that people, including the protesters, have against the actions of the police during those events.
Carrie Lam says she has been listening. So did she hear calls for her to step down?
I want another chance. Myself and my team, we will try our very best to rebuild that trust so that we can continue to implement these social and economic policies. As I said, my commitment is to doing all this important work in the next 3 years.
Haley Zhou, TVB News.
As Carrie Lam diffused anger over the bill and subsequent police tactics against protesters. Not if you ask the Pan Democrats or the Civil Human Rights Front, which organised the two marches that proved pivotal. Judging by the reaction, it doesn't seem like Carrie Lam's apology has been accepted, at least not from those still camped outside the Legislative Council. Even the organiser of both Sunday rallies against the extradition bill aren't sold.
All of our demands of Carrie Lam stepping down, withdrawal of the bill, and also hold the police accountable are all ignored by Carrie Lam. Therefore, the Civil Human Rights Front do not at all accept Carrie Lam's so-called apology.
The group is discussing with pan-democratic lawmakers on future actions to take as the legislature remains divided over Carrie Lam's decision.
She managed to lose her smug and arrogant face today, but then her supposedly genuine apology comes too little too late. Her administration is going to be a lame duck administration.
How does the pro-establishment camp see this?
While we are obliged to acknowledge the voice of the procession, we are equally obliged to bear in mind the voice of the supporters in favor of the government. Apart from the statement, CE apologized in person. We accept her apologize, and we believe that most of the Hong Kong people do not want these things to drag on.
She promised to continue monitoring the government, but disagrees with removing Carrie Lam from office, which she said could present a governing crisis.
Meanwhile, government business is gradually returning to normal as roads around the central government offices and the chief executive office, which had been blocked by protesters, has become accessible. But security remains tight in the area. This morning, government cars were seen being stopped for ID checks. The CGO reopened today after being shut for 5 days, but today's Executive Council meeting was called off. At LegCo, an amber alert that went into force last Wednesday was lifted this afternoon, along with other special security arrangements. And as of yesterday, the Independent Police Complaints Council received more than 60 complaints against police officers over the past week. To look into matters, a 13-member commission made up of police members who were uninvolved in the protests will be set up.
The whole idea of this commission is to ensure that the police serve the public in a better way in the future. If there are complaints against particular officers and we find that the complaint is substantiated, the commissioner then would have to take action. We will be looking at all the complaints, plus in fact what we call the notifiable complaints made by people who are not directly involved but who see things that should be corrected.
The hospital authority insists it did not hand over any information about injured protesters to the police. The clarification came after a lawmaker disclosed a loophole through which the police can access patients' information. Caleb Leung has more.
The hospital authority today stressed its accident and emergency information system, which carries patients' information, is only intended for use by the medical staff.
Outsiders should not be able to access our system. All the people are using our system are actually our HA staff. So we have adopted various measures on trying to protect our patient privacy.
The clarification came after medical sector lawmaker Pierre Chen claimed the police have backdoor access to HA's database. He showed a list of patients who received treatment at public hospitals on June 12th and 13th. The printout with the words "for police" at the top left corner lists the information of 76 patients under a row marked as mass gathering outside LegCo.
Up till now, we have never received any information that our staff had handed over any patient particulars or patient information to the police in the recent incident.
Although the system is intended for use by the medical staff, it is always logged in due to its constant use. This created a chance for outsiders to gain access to it, and HA promised to find ways to enhance security. In a statement today, the Hong Kong Public Doctors Association described the incident as shocking. It demanded the hospital authority to plug the loophole or suspend the use of the system until the problem is fixed. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
Thanks for joining us.
That's all from us. Bye for now.